Literacy in general is a social and cultural practice that is constantly in flux, with meaning making no longer confined to print-based text. Rather, literacy is seen as multimodal since it is interactive and informative, and occurs in ever-increasingly technological settings where information is part of spatial, audio, and visual patterns. Literacy and technology continually shape one another and require new beliefs and goals in the classroom. A more expansive view of literacy calls for English teachers to constantly redefine what it means to be literate in order to respond to their students' needs and the requirements of a rapidly changing world. Literacy involves more than a set of conventions to be learned, either through print or technological formats. Rather, literacy enables people to negotiate meaning, with these negotiations often occurring in technological settings and engaging students' value and identities. The New London Group, 1996, has proposed the concept of multiliteracies, which views literacy as continual, supplemental, and enhancing or modifying established literacy teaching and learning rather than replacing traditional practices. Multiliteracies recognizes both the increasing cultural and linguistic diversity in the new globalized society and the new variety of text forms from multiple communicative technologies. The huge shift from traditional print-based literacy to 21st century multiliteracy reflects the impact of communication technologies and multimedia on the evolving nature of text, as well as the skill and disposition associated with the consumption, production, evaluation, and distribution of those texts. There are daily life objects that help to exemplify changes through the time. The image of the TV sets, for example, shows the evolution of this device. We can notice the main physical characteristics that have happened in all these years, but we also have to think about the functions they have now. With computers, it's basically the same story. At the beginning, they were huge machines full of wires and not affordable for anyone. At that time, the knowledge or the information belonged to some. Nowadays, we can easily get our laptops, and with an internet connection, we have access to the world. The question is, if there have been changes in those objects, why do we still have the same classroom than before? Our students are very different now. The knowledge or text they are producing now are not the same they used to have several years ago. That's why multimodality is a really good way to contextualize our language teaching. This way, our students will find more attractive and interesting what they are learning. They can create knowledge with their daily life devices and vocabulary. They can be connected to the digital world as well as being part of it. Apparently, everyone can read and write nowadays, no matter the age. Kids, since their early age, are able to perform some specific commands regarding the use of devices. The function of the pencil seems to be now in our fingers, especially our indexes and our thumbs. Now, we write with these two fingers on a screen. We transmit messages, feelings. We are creating a different type of literacy. With the aim of contextualized literacy, I'll give a local example about Medellin. The city itself is creating a type of literacy with sounds, smells, faces, and different type of writing. Most of us recognize this sound. Most of us probably do not recognize this face. But then, we associate that face with a voice and we have this result.
Saludar, sonreír y ser amable es muy fácil. Comparta con nosotros la cultura metro para que este viaje sea muy agradable para todos. El metro lo lleva a su destino. Próxima estación, Medellín, ciudad inteligente.
This city character became the voice of our transportation system. We all have listened to him, and we know that when he speaks, it's because he's got something important to tell us, or because he wants to guide us, or because he wants to show us the city. In a few words, I'll dare to say that this is the voice of the city. Now, when we talk about multimodality, it is well known that the linguistic mode of communication, oral written language, has dominated language studies for the last millennium and a half. The linguistic mode has become specialized among the other modes of communication by being considered the main carrier of meaning, Crest 2003-2010. This view of communication gave rise to verbocentric and typographic cultures. Multimodality has been defined as the approaches that understand communication and representation to be more than about language, and which attend to the full range of communicational forms people use: image, gesture, gaze, posture, and so on, and the relationship between them. Hewitt, 2009. The multimodal approach is grounded in a social semiotic view of a language and communication. Semiotics studies the processes and structures whereby meaning is made in social spaces. That is to say, it wonders about the elements that play out when we make meaning and how we represent those meanings in communication. The multimodal approach provides the tools to examine text by breaking them into their basic components and by understanding how they work together to make meaning. All the previous text is taken from Alvarez 2016. The way we're using to communicate right now is different. Nowadays we're not writing with pencils, nowadays we're writing with our fingers, with our indexes. Nowadays we're not writing on a paper, but on a screen. All the information is in the web. We have unlimited access to the information, we have knowledge, we are able to produce knowledge. Literacies are changing. The ways in which we write are very different now. Now we are texting, we are using emojis, we are using other kind of expression to communicate our feelings.